Hello, hello, hello. Cam here, and I would like to welcome you to 5 Question Friday. We are live from Croatia at 5 p.m. answering your 5 questions about Croatia that you send in to us through Instagram, Facebook, our 5 Question Friday form, LinkedIn, YouTube, questions from my consulting sessions, Sarah's consulting sessions, and we wrap them all up in this beautiful little ball and we present them on 5 Question Friday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am inside today in my office because, as you know, it's pitch black outside. It's 5 o'clock. It's winter. It sucks to be inside, but winter solstice is coming soon, which means every day after that, it's going to get a little bit brighter, a little bit sooner. And before we know it, we will be outside basking in the beautiful, glorious environment that Croatia has to offer us. It's lovely to be here. Listen, I'm not replacing Sarah. She's still doing these. However, I have some pretty big news. I will be hosting 5 Question Friday on a regular basis. And it will likely be once a month, probably the first Friday of every month, but not always the first Friday of every month. So expect to see this mug on your live feed about once a month, hosting an episode of 5 Question Friday. And I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be doing these episodes. I love connecting with you guys, and I'm super duper excited. So I'd like to get started. Welcome. I see kind of everybody joining on and getting here to watch the show. Settle in. Put your phone somewhere, put your feet up. It's Friday. Maybe it's not early yet for you because you're, in North America, or you're in a different time zone like Australia or wherever you might be. But I welcome you no matter what time of day it is. And whether you're at home or driving in your car, I hope you're enjoying the episode. Oh, I got my computer screen here to keep track of what our topics are. Oh, hi, and my mom's here too. Hello. But I want to share with you a little bit about what's been going on, because you haven't seen me live for a month, and lots has gone on that I want to update you on. First is, as we all know, Advent has begun. The first candle was lit on Sunday. So it's a really exciting and beautiful time of year in our area. More and more Christmas lights are being put up as people decorate their homes. Everybody's got wreaths on their doors. All of the towns and cities are in full Advent mode. So that's been really awesome. But I actually did want to mention to all of our American fans and our clients, I hope that you all had a beautiful Thanksgiving weekend. I know it's a really special weekend for Americans and their families, so I certainly hope that you had a beautiful and peaceful and filled with a lot of food weekend with the people that you love the most. Advent here, I gotta say, okay, so we have so tell me, here's what I want to know from you. In Canada, we kind of had this rule, right? So we had Halloween at the end of October, but then November 11th, Remembrance Day, was a really big deal. And the rule kind of was no Christmas stuff until we've, until we've observed Remembrance Day, and then we can sort of move into the festive holiday cheer. And what I've noticed is, I haven't been in Canada now for, 2.5 years, but what I've noticed is that, the Christmas stuff is coming out sooner and sooner. And listen, guys, there's no judgment here. If you want to bring holiday cheer into your heart and home at any point in the year, I don't mind. I use my fa la 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 mug outside of the Christmas season. But, I want to know, when do you jump into Christmas mode? Because for me, there's a trigger. And here's what my trigger is. I must, and when I say I must, I mean I must. I must hear Kichos Zvončići. And when I hear that, something ignites in me a Christmas spirit, if you will. And if you don't know this song, you're missing out, and you're gonna have to message me, and I'm gonna have to send you a link to this song. But when I hear Kicho sing, particularly Zvončići, and I hear those bells for the beginning of the song and the tambures start going, that's kind of a really big deal for me, and that's what does it. And it's typically, I mean, when we were in Canada, I'd always listen to Národní radio. For anyone who remembers, Národní is now Bravo. But Národní radio would always play Kicho that first week of Advent. And I was like, it is time. I can finally bring on my Christmas cheer. Hey, Tiana, Canadian here. We don't put anything up until after Remembrance Day. Yeah, a lot of people still observe that. And, Remembrance Day is a really important day for Canadians. And, I think having our poppies on, and then, and once we've shown that respect, then we can, go to our holly and our mistletoe and our wreaths. So I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of with you there. Really weird to not have Remembrance Day celebrations, but we honor some other really important days regarding the Homeland War here, which I'm honored to be able to reflect on and participate in here. Okay, so another big thing happened. I'm going to give like a little warning that I'm going to be talking about meat and pigs for that matter. I'm talking about Kolinje, and I shared some photos of my family's experience from last weekend. Typically the last week of November and those first days of December for many families means Kolinje, when they get their pigs and they prepare all the meat, whether it's for vacuum sealing and freezing, or making kobasice, or sending the speck or the pršut out to dry over in Dalmatia. We hang some here as well. But what an experience. Obviously, it's significantly different than it was before. I remember being younger, and, Kolinje started from scratch here, and I won't go into the gory details. But now, it started with my cousin picking up, already dead pigs. I don't know how gruesome I need to get into this. Already dead pigs in Slavonia, and bringing them home. We had 9 pigs that we were preparing for our extended family. The purpose of this is not to talk about the pigs. It's to talk about family and community, and how beautiful it was to work together, that it really did take all of us to prepare this food. And I loved observing how there was no part of the pig that was not used. There's really this level of respect that this animal feeds a village, and it's treated that way. And I really sincerely felt that. The traditions are beautiful, and we worked well into the night, and there was kotli going and kobasice being made, and music being played. I mean, tambura music the whole time. It was really, really lovely, and it was a lot of work, and I enjoyed every single minute of it. I got to give a shout out to my cousin Mislav, who spearheaded it all for our extended family, and it was amazing, and I was so happy to be a part of it. But it's not just about Kolinje for me. I love the harvest, the grape harvest. We got to do masline with my colleague Tamara. We got to harvest olives, which was incredible because I'd never, ever done that. But just watching our food and our drink, our fruits, our everything, from start to harvest, that farm to table. It's really something that is enjoyed in a very celebratory way here in Croatia. It's really revered, and it's a special time, and it's been so amazing participating in it. Hi Kathy, nice to see you. Welcome. So yeah, that was a little bit about Kolinje here. I also want to talk about something that happened yesterday. Yesterday was the International Day of the Volunteer, and or of volunteers. I don't know what the official name is. I definitely messed that up. But we took the time, all of us at work, to plan how we were going to make a difference yesterday. And so Team North, which ended up being myself, my colleagues Steve and Maria, we reached out to the Pučka Kuhinja up at Sveti Duh, so that's a Caritas Sveti Ante parish. They have this actually, and what I've come to learn is a very well-known program. And they are feeding the local community, and not just feeding them lunch, but what we learned was providing them with fresh groceries every single day. And it was truly an honor to be able to be there and participate. And in fact, I'm going back next week because I was just so blown away by what they were doing. And it was a really beautiful experience. This was the first time that I had the opportunity to volunteer in Croatia. It can be overwhelming to start something new. Honestly, if we hadn't had this initiative, I probably would have gone another year without volunteering my time or my efforts to other people or people in need. And so I'm really thankful that we had the opportunity to do this. And I want to give a shout out to Fra Vilcek and his whole team there, because what they are doing is incredible. And it was so lovely to meet the people who come to use the services of the Pučka Kuhinja and of what they're doing there. It was lovely to shake their hands and to speak with them and learn a little bit more about them and chat over a handoff of very much appreciated grocery items, basics. So it was a beautiful day. And I'm sure Steve and Maria won't mind if I speak on their behalf and just say that we really loved it. And it was wonderful. If you're ever in the Zagreb area, reach out. They have a website, or I'm happy to share their contact information. They're always looking for volunteers. They do this every single day because people need to eat every single day. And so it was absolutely incredible. I think I'm speechless. But they also interviewed me. I was interviewed yesterday for HRT. This is not my first time being interviewed by HRT, may I say. I was once interviewed holding a toddler, my own toddler, and I was in a nošnja. We were at Đakovački vezovi with my old Hrvatsko Prelo kids from Oakville, and I was interviewed by HRT. So this was my second time being interviewed by HRT, and they were asking about the experience of volunteering. It was great. So I don't know when that's going to air. I will be sure to let you all know, but it was fabulous. And then, the little cherry on top was that I got to hang out with my coworkers, which, even though we're kind of all Zagreb area here, the little group of us, and we call ourselves Team North, we work from home, and so we don't always get to see each other. And it had been a hot minute. It had been a hot minute since we had gotten together. And so afterwards we hung out a little bit and caught up, and it was really, really nice. So yesterday from start to finish was just such a beautiful day. And I know that our team in the south, our girls from Split, spent the day cooking and delivering meals. I think if I saw correctly in the stories, it was to 33 families. And listen, all three of those ladies, chef's kiss to whatever they made. I know it's going to be delicious. And I'm sure they filled some bellies and some hearts with the dishes that they made. So it was really a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to cover. I'm checking my list. Yeah. Let's turn the attention to you and the questions that you guys have submitted. In case you're wondering, there is no question too big or too small. There is no topic that is taboo, but it's got to be about Croatia, obviously. And so, if you have a question, and listen, you might think, oh, this is a dumb question, they're not going to answer that. No, there are no dumb questions. As you should know, there are only dumb answers. But all questions are taken seriously. So if you have a question that you'd like to submit, send it to us. And if you're watching on Instagram, the fastest way to do that is to send a DM. And many of you know that you're talking to me a lot of the time on DMs. And so I'm happy to receive your questions and put them in our roster. And then you just got to keep watch because your question might be the one that's answered that week. So let's get started with question number 1, which comes to us from Ellie in consulting. Hold on. I see a question before I get started. Can you tell us about Sveti Nikola and how to nicely honor it to friends? Okay, yes, let's do that before I start the questions because I'm worried that I'm going to forget. What a great question, because it was Sveti Nikola yesterday, which, by the way, so some places have just Sveti Nikola, but we have Sveti Nikola and Krampus. So Krampus is bad, and basically Krampus gives shibe to children who were not well behaved throughout the year. I remember my baka, my grandma, telling me that like they were really, really scared of Krampus, and he used to come and like he always comes with Sveti Nikola. But listen, Sveti Nikola keeps Krampus in check. We have some amazing people here in my selo, in my village, who reach out to all the parents and say, hey, you know, if you want Sveti Nikola and Krampus to visit, let us know. And they go around the village. That was last night, and we weren't able to participate because we weren't here. So, but it's a beautiful tradition. In Canada, you know, we're not all so close. So, and here they'd leave the boots too, but this was very much our thing. You know, you would shine your boots and you'd leave them in the window, and a gift would be waiting from Sveti Nikola in the children's boots. Again, my baka used to tell me how when they did it when they were a kid, they would get a mandarin. And this was a big deal, this piece of fruit in the middle of winter. And it was a really, really special year when they got something like that. So really beautiful celebrations. We have a guide on Sveti Nikola, if I recall. So reach out and you can get like the whole story, but there's just a little snippet. But yeah. Sretan imandan to all the Nikolas and Nikolinas and Nicoles and Nikkis. Sveti imandan. Okay, so let me get back to the questions. Question 1 comes to us from Ellie. It came through a consulting session. And her question was, do children need an osobna izskaznica? So first of all, what is an osobna izskaznica? That is your Croatian ID card, where it is basically, it's your legal proof of identity that you need here in Croatia. It states your gender, your date of birth, your address, and your residence status. Every Croatian older than the age of 18 who has prebivalište in Croatia has to have an ID card, and it is optional for children. So there's a couple things that I want to say about this. My kids do have them. So they are under 18 and we got them done for them. Really cool tidbit here. As soon as they turn 12, they have to sign for their osobna karta, their izskaznica. So under 12, as a parent, I can sign for them, but then 12 and older, they have to sign. Which, side note, since my kids grew up in Canada, they've never had to sign their name. Now, here, kids learn cursive right from grade 1. They haven't taught cursive in Canada for a while now. And so I had to teach my kids how to sign their name. And it's been one of the challenges in school. Their teachers are gracious and allow them to hand in all of their work written, like block letters. But they have had to learn to read cursive because the teachers write everything in cursive. So yeah, so as of 12, they sign, which I'm like, wow, that's really young for somebody to sign for something. Obviously, the parent has to be there, but they do sign their osobna izskaznica. Now, for diaspora, members of the diaspora who have Croatian citizenship, you can get an osobna izskaznica as well, but if you have legal residence in another country, it will have that address. So, for example, if you live in Canada, your Canadian address will be on it because you have legal residence in Croatia, but you can have an osobna izskaznica as well. So, Ellie, thank you for that question. It was a great one, and we have a guide for this, everyone. So how to apply for a Croatian ID card or an osobna izskaznica is the guide. If you're watching on Instagram, you know what to do. Send us a DM and we'll get you a link to that guide. If you're watching a replay on YouTube, all you got to do is scroll down and all the resources are going to be listed below. Okay, Silvina, if I am a Croatian citizen but I live in Spain, do I need to register your birth in Croatia? It has been asked to my family in the passport renewal. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question correctly. If it's your birth are you asking if your birth needs to be registered in Croatia or your child's birth? Yes, the births do need to be registered in Croatia. So you can do that at the Matični ured. We have a guide for how to register a birth in Croatia, and how to make updates. And if you want, just send me a DM and I'll send you the info, Silvina. Just shoot me a DM and I'll send you the guide on how you can do that. Awesome. Okay. Second question of the evening. This is an anonymous question. How does one find a ship manifest? So this person asked, can you please tell me where I can find a ship manifest or other evidence showing when my ancestor came to the United States? Great question. This comes up on all of my citizenship calls because a part of what you have to do is show details of the descendant who emigrated, who left Croatia, and how they traveled, when they arrived. All of these details are important. And for some people, they don't have any of that information. And so it can be very overwhelming to figure out like, hey, where do I even start, right? So Daniela, my colleague, who is the best for researching things, I asked her, hey, can you check for, some of the countries where we have a lot of our watchers from, a lot of our fans and some of our consulting clients, the top sort of countries. And so she put together a little list for me of about 5 countries. So for the United States, start with the National Archive. They have passenger arrival records there. They're sometimes called ship passenger lists. And they have lists from 1820 to December 1982. There are some gaps, but they've got a lot of information there. The records are arranged by the port or airport of arrival. And then records that are 75 years or older in the States, many of them are publicly available and they've been digitized by archival partners. And so what I also found, like, for example, my great grandpa came through Ellis Island and up to Canada. So lots of people came in through Ellis Island. And so I went onto their website and I was looking through their stuff. And just be forewarned, you can input a lot of information, but then to lift information from a site like the Ellis Island, you do have to register. And then there are different subscription levels, to gain access to the information. So beware of that. Ancestry.com, places like that have info, but again, they do have subscription fees. The National Archives, though, did note that familysearch.org is a free site and they only require you to register. So you can get quite a bit of information from them. Just briefly, so the person who asked was from the States, but we collected some other countries, as I said. So if you are from Canada, you can check the Library and Archives of Canada, as well as the Nova Scotia Archives for Pier 21. And we've got these websites, we've got some links. So if somebody wants any links, shoot us a DM and I can send them over to you. If you're from Australia and your ancestor went to Australia, the place to start is the National Archive and the National Library. And for South Africa, the place to start is the Genealogical Society. So we've got links to all of these sources. Please don't hesitate to reach out and we'll send them along to you. Fabulous question again. We've got a guide, how to apply for citizenship based on descent or prirođenje. Send us a DM and I'll send you that guide as well. Or if you're watching over YouTube or through YouTube, scroll down and you will find the link. All right. This question came in personally for yours truly, and it was from Eva on IG. And she asked, Cam, What are the biggest challenges of living in Croatia for you? Oh, all right. Well, I always appreciate a question where like I really have to reflect on my personal experience. And I gotta say, the hardest or the most challenging parts of living here have not necessarily been the living here part, but what we left behind in Canada. And so there's a couple things that really have made living here challenging. First, not having my in-laws close. So my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my niece and nephew. We really spent a lot of time together, especially holidays. And, my mother-in-law used to come over with my niece and nephew almost every weekend, just to hang out and help out around the house and so that the kids could be together. It was always really important for us that our children, that my niece and nephew and our kids, that they had a really close relationship. And so I really miss them, and I really miss being with them for special times of the year, for Christmas, for, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays. That's really, really hard. And not just like them, the in-laws, but like also like our kumovi and our close, first cousins. And it's really hard because, you're there always. And so you have these, you don't even realize that there are traditions and that, you guys are seeing each other on some sort of regular or irregular basis, but those opportunities don't really exist when you're living so far away. And so, I really miss stopping at my strina and striko's house and seeing, my first cousins. Like, that doesn't exist anymore. And so that's really, really tough. The other thing I miss is kolo in the diaspora. Now, I know many of you know that I dance in a group here. The kids are in tambura. Like, I have kolo, but it's not the same. It's not the same. I mean, I grew up in the GTA, and we are very, very rich in Croatian folklore. And we have some amazing groups that I've been a part of my whole life. Sljeme in Mississauga, Hrvatsko Prelo in Oakville, Kraljica Jelena in Kitchener. I miss these groups. I miss the kolo season and everything that comes with it. And so that's been really hard. So while I have, joined a group here, it's not the same. It's really not. So shout out to all my GTA Kolo Gruppe. Okay, so that's sort of what's been the toughest, most challenging part of living here is, that void that left. But I know what you're looking for in this answer. So there are two particular things that have been challenging, and unsurprising that it has to do with systems. So the first is the school system, and I've talked about this in the past. And it's really challenging to navigate and assist my kids in navigating a system that I didn't grow up in. And so, that first year and a half was pretty tough to understand what the school expected of me, what the school expected of the kids. Everything was new. And while people were gracious and helpful, I don't think that they wrapped their brain around the fact that like we had no clue how we were navigating this at all. So that was it was a learning curve. And I did things, and I've shared this in other episodes. I joined the parent council because I really wanted to get a better idea of how things functioned. And since then, I mean, my kids are in middle school here, and like, they got this now. They know. And they're the ones who are explaining things to me now, and they're navigating things so well, and I'm so proud of them. So that was a huge challenge, but like 2 and a bit years in, I feel like we've got it pretty handled. Now, I do have a really good friend whose son's preparing for high school, and like, there's a lot that awaits you because you have to apply to high school. So like, that'll be the next sort of level of challenge in terms of the school system that I'm anticipating. The second is, no shock here, the healthcare system. I come from the Canadian healthcare system, and so you have to learn how to function within this one. And I'll be honest, in the beginning, In the beginning, I really overcompensated with the private healthcare system a lot because it was easier than trying to navigate hazaza'o. So we went to, like, for example, a private dentist, but like, all of that adds up if you're constantly, dipping into the private system. And so I was like, oh, geez, man, I gotta figure this out. And so I really spent the last year sort of weaning myself off of the private, only using it when necessary, and really, just sort of making those final steps into functioning within the public healthcare system. So that included getting a dentist through hazaza'o, which, thank you, Daniela, for the tip on doing it through e-građani, which was really, really cool. I did not know that I could sign up for a physician or any, you've got your 4 basic healthcare providers that go through hazaza'o, your family doctor, if you have kids, a pediatrician, your dentist, and your gynecologist. So I went on there and I signed up for a dentist. And so now we've got a dentist through hazaza'o, which feels really good. So, I feel like now we've gone through Emerge, we've had specialists, blood work, all of those things, and now we really understand it. So from a systems perspective, those were the 2 biggest challenges. But again, looking back, it's been 2 and a bit years, and like, that's not a long time to really like delve in and figure out how things work. Like, we're doing pretty good. So Eva, thanks for that question. It was great. And it was great. Again, I love being able to reflect and sort of look at things and ask those kinds of questions. So I appreciate you asking that question. Okay, there is a guide, not a guide, but there's an article. There was an interview with me for Crushing It in Croatia that I did with Maria back, just after I started working at Expat in Croatia. So if you want to read a little bit more about my family and our story, send me a DM and I will send you the link to the Crushing It in Croatia interview. All right, this brings us to the tip of the week. And when I'm hosting, I call it the Diaspora tip of the week because this is what I am. I'm Diaspora who's returned. And so my tip of the week this week is nothing beats Christmas in Croatia. So I've got my monologue here written out, and I want to share with you some of my thoughts. All right, here we go. You ready? Okay. Advent, Christmas, and New Year's in Croatia. It is like stepping into a living snow globe, minus the snow. No, just the sparkle of a snow globe, but I'm Canadian, so this snow, no, it's not here. But if you're here for the holidays, get ready to experience the blagdani like never before, because it is not just a season, it's a state of mind. First up is Advent. Croatian towns and cities know how to adventirati. Zagreb's Advent market is not famous for nothing. There's a reason, because it is a full-on winter wonderland. Twinkling lights, wooden stalls selling everything from mulled wine to handmade ornaments, and there is music playing everywhere. If you're in a smaller town, don't worry, because there's still plenty to do and plenty of charm. There's always a nativity scene or carolers or the smell of roasted chestnuts in the air. Oh, and don't forget the fritule, because you will be eating a lot of fritule. Christmas here is all about tradition. It starts early with the sowing of the pšenica, Christmas wheat, to symbolize renewal. And by Badnjak, Christmas Eve, the green shoots sit proudly on the table, wrapped in a red, white, and blue ribbon alongside candles and rakia. Badnjak meals vary across Croatia, whether it's bakalar on the coast or baked trout in the north or truffles in Istra. Expect the food to take center stage. Everywhere, the evening is filled with carols, Christmas lights, and reflection, often ending with a beautiful midnight mass. Badnjak, though, isn't just about food. It's a moment of warmth and tradition, and it prepares your heart for Christmas Day. Now, Christmas Day itself is family, food, and faith. You'll eat until you're questioning your life choices, and then you'll somehow find room for more. There's sarma and roasted meat and potatoes and desserts. I mean, so many desserts. In our house, it's gibanica and štrukli and olgine ploške and rumbles. And oh my God, I could go on and on and on. If you visit someone's house, expect to leave with a plate full of sweets, whether you want them or not. New Year's? Yep, Croatia does that one right too. Fireworks? Check. Live music? Absolutely. A midnight toast? Absolutely. Naturally, of course. But here's the thing. New Year's Day is just as important as New Year's Eve. After all the partying, you can expect to spend the first day of the year with family, eating yet another huge meal, because how you start the year dictates how you will spend the year. So maybe go easy on the partying or not. It depends on you, right? Depends on you. Here's the secret though. It's not about all the big events. It's about warmth. It's about togetherness and the simple joys, like singing our beautiful božićne pjesme, Christmas carols, with our friends and neighbors, and walking through the town square all lit up like it's auditioning for a Hallmark movie. So whether you're huddled by a crackling fire in Slavonia or strolling a breezy Dalmatian promenade or somewhere in between like me, one thing is certain. The holidays aren't just celebrated in Croatia. They are lived. So in case I don't see you before Christmas, želim vam sretan Božić i Novu godinu, and I welcome you to the magic of Christmas in Croatia. Thank you for listening to my monologue, my tip. Which brings us to question 4 tonight, which is Advent related. So this came in through Saya on Instagram. And Saya, I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. And if I am not, please correct me in the DMs because we were chatting a little bit. She asked, are there any tips for first-time visitors of Advent in Zagreb? So listen, I knew exactly who I needed to go to for this question and to get a really good answer. And that is my colleague Daniela, who does Advent in Zagreb like nobody else. Like, she loves Advent in Zagreb. And so trust me that you are getting like pro tips if you plan on visiting Advent in Zagreb, okay? So here we go, in no particular order, but there's a lot of them, so take note. Or just bookmark this and come back to it and listen to it or watch it again. Evenings are the busiest. If you like crowds, great. If you don't, then you might want to come earlier into the city. Now, I was in Zagreb yesterday, and I was catching the train at the Glavni kolodvor at 4. So I was walking by Zrinjevac and Trg Kralja Tomislava around 3:15, 3:20. And it was still light out, but getting a little dusky, but all of the lights were lit. And Zrinjevac was looking magical already. So you can go just before it starts to hit nightfall and have the most magical experience ever. Now, if you're kind of spending a lot of time, what you can do is these really popular main attractions, the ones that are at Banjelačić Square, at Kralj Tomislav, at Zrinjevac, visit those earlier and then go to the not lesser known, but not so main attractions later in the evening, because most of the people come to these major ones during that kind of peak time. Again, just another tip, if you're trying to avoid the crowds, don't go on a Friday, or the weekends. That's when it is the busiest. So, planning to come during the week is really great if you have a family, if you've got kids and you want to avoid some of those crowds. The skating rink. The skating rink at Kralj Tomislav Trg is amazing. It's beautiful this year. Again, it's great for kids. So if you want something where you can keep busy with them for a long time, that's a great option. If you don't like the cold, there are some things to do inside, like the Museum of Chocolate or the Museum of Illusions. So you can plan for some time inside. It was cold yesterday. I had mittens on, I had a toque on, I had a neck warmer on. Like, it's cold when you're just walking around. So it's nice to like pair some of the outside stuff with some inside attractions as well. I did not go yesterday because my purpose for going to Zagreb yesterday wasn't for Advent. It was for the volunteering. But Tunel Grič, so I've been trying to avoid social media because I don't want to see all this stuff on social media. I want to see it live. But I have seen snippets of the tunnel and it looks magical. But be forewarned, it is freezing in there. So don't expect that because you're in the tunnel, it's warmer. It's very cold. And if you get a little claustrophobic, it can feel a little claustrophobic. So just a little word to the wise, but I'm so excited to go through it this year. Always good to check the calendar events. The Advent Zagreb has a fabulous website. They've got musical acts. They've got all kinds of things happening all month. And so, plan for things, like check out the events, see what you're interested in, and it will help you sort of make points of where you want to be and when, and keep you organized. Don't hesitate to try the local food, but be wary that the prices are insane this year. I mean, they were insane last year too. So it is what it is. But fritule, bunsek, sa zeljem, kubase, like, do it. Do at least one thing where you're trying from one of the food stands. So lots of restaurants have set up food stands. There's so much selection, in terms of types of food. So obviously traditional Croatian food, but also, Asian food. There's vegan options. There's all kinds of things available. This is also something that we recommend you plan ahead for, though, because the lines are long. So do your research, figure out what you want to eat so that when you're standing in line for so long, you don't get up to, it's not your turn and you're like, oh, they don't have what I want. Plan for it so that, you're utilizing your time as best as you can. For drinks, try rakia at Fuliranje by the Strossmajerov Square. And of course, kuhano vino, of course. If you're staying in Zagreb, you need to book your accommodation if you haven't already, because it's going to be tough to, get anything at this point in the game. But it's nice to be able to stay. My husband and we stayed one night last year. It was great to be able to walk around and then to just go to our hotel room, and not have to drive back out of the city. It was a real treat. Wear warm clothes and bring layers. Because, you're walking around, it could get hot. If you're skating, you get all sweaty. So just think about that. Souvenirs are a must. Oh, love. Especially my favorites are at Zrinjevac, the wooden stalls, like on the north side of the gazebo. Beautiful artisans and one-of-a-kind handmade things. I want to give a shout out to Sylvia. I don't know what her stand is called, but it's very folklore-y, and she does a lot of work on glass. And last year, I hadn't seen her in so long, and last year I stopped there and I got a Christmas ornament with a Šestinski kišobran. How do you say kišobran in English? Umbrella, the red traditional umbrellas. Yes, I am losing my English words. With the Crveni kišobran, and with 2023, like our first Christmas as a family in Croatia. And so I will be going back to see her, and I will be getting another ornament this year. But it was hard not to drop all the cash at the vendors because their stuff is just so unique. So check them out. Oh, my aunt just signed on. Hi, Teta. If you're going with kids, you cannot get everything done at once. There will be meltdowns. It is a lot of walking. There is a lot to see. If you can plan for multiple nights, or, breaking up the day a little bit with some rest. If you start getting cold, go inside somewhere, warm yourselves, adults, up with the vino or rakia. For the kids, some hot chocolate always is yummy and does the trick. I warned you about the prices. Like €5 for fritole, around €8 for sausages, maybe more. Here's one thing though that was really shocking to read is that a lot of the food stands are only accepting credit cards or, cards. Like Croatia is like cash is king, but like something's going on that I guess it's just quicker and then they're not handling money. So just be aware of that and enjoy. I mean, you don't have to spend money to enjoy it. And I was there yesterday and just the walk and, just looking at the lights is so, so, so beautiful. There is a really cool Santa Claus at Zrinjevac Park at the starting end of it. And he's in a horse-drawn carriage and you can have a little ride around Zrinjevac, which is really, really sweet and pretty. So however you enjoy Advent in Zagreb or Advent in whatever town or city, I hope that you do just that. You enjoy it. So thanks, Daniela, for putting together the list of tips. And I hope that you guys find them helpful as well. We've got lots of guides about Christmas and Advent on our website. So I'll draw attention to a couple of them. We've got this great guide now, Advent celebrations across Croatia. And actually, I think Neve has pinned it. If you head over to our grid, I think it's like the first one on our pinned posts. And so you can just write whatever the word is, guide or what, and it will get sent to you. So that's for celebrations all across Croatia. We've got a guide for Christmas cakes and cookies that are traditionally prepared. We've got one for traditional meals as well. And if you're learning Croatian, we have got a holiday words and phrases guide as well. So DM me if you'd like some of those guides. Scroll down if you're watching on YouTube and you can get the link right away. All right, guys, time is it? It's 1:45. It's our last question of the evening. And this one comes from Maya on our 5-Question Friday form. And Maya asks, I am looking for a semester-long Croatian language course in Croatia, ideally at a B1 level or above, that does not require the student to be 18 years or older. Do you have any recommendations? Well, Maya, you're in luck because of course we do. See, we already have this list of the biggest Croatian language schools, in-person schools in Croatia. And so what we did was we just reached out to them and we asked them for you. And so here is our list. So Queen Mary, which is in Dubrovnik, they don't have an age minimum. Old or young, you can attend the classes. However, they did say, they don't recommend anyone younger than like 11, 12, 13, obviously depending on the kid, but they have to sit in a classroom all day. So, your kid's best if you're thinking about a younger child, but that would be about the minimum. But other than that, there are no age restrictions. Hrvatska Matica Iseljenika has classes. They have different groups. So for example, they have like a 9 to 14 age group, and then they have an over 17 age group. They also have online courses. Croaticum, which a lot of people know about, the classes are over at Filozofski Fakultet. Theirs are 18 and older only. Crow to Go, they have children's courses, but they are online, and it is from ages 6 to 15. And then the language schools in Zadar, Split, and Rijeka are all 18 and over. So we've got a guide for all of these schools. As I said, it's the biggest Croatian language schools in Croatia guide. And we've also got a guide for online courses for learning Croatian language, both free and paid. So if you would like either of these guides, reach out and we will send them to you. That's it. That's your episode of 5-Question Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. I love to ramble with you. This is the beginning of my long Croatian goodbye, as you know. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. This always happens. If you missed it, or if you don't know, we made a Christmas playlist. So if you're on Spotify, search up Expat in Croatia. You'll see that we have like a ton of playlists. But we've got a Christmas one, which is really, really cool. So if you want to check that out, like go onto Spotify and search it, or make it easier and just DM us and we will send you the link and then you can save it under your favorite playlists. So yeah, I didn't want to forget to tell you that. That's it. I hope you have a wonderful Advent season. I'm excited for Sunday. I sing in the choir, so I'll be at church and we light the second candle for Advent and just keep making that countdown and getting closer. I hope that you have a beautiful season and that you have a Christmas filled with that warmth and family that I was talking about earlier. And yeah, that's it. Sretan petak, happy Friday, Sretan Božić, and we'll see you next year, at least for live Friday, 5-question Friday live. I mean, you'll see me on stories and you can't get rid of me that quickly, but live, I'll see you next year. Ciao. I forget how to turn this off. Here we go. Bye.